Hello everyone, welcome to the Red Men TV. This is team news reaction time. Liverpool taking on Ajax in the Amsterdam Arena in about an hour and 15 minutes or so. The team news is out now. I'm going to head straight over to Chris Pajak at the board, who's going to give it to you large, give it to you hard.
Yes, I am. Is right, Paul. So the team's out. This was my predicted 11. So we got the back five right, clearly. It looks like I got these two players wrong here. So we've got Salah and Bobby Firmino. So the front three will play in their normal positions. Now it looks like Wijnaldum will be behind maybe Jones and Milner, something like that. And I think that's the side. So we've got Adrian, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Fabinho does play at centre-half with Joe Gomez. Andy Robertson, Wijnaldum, Jones and Milner is the midfield three, with Mane, Salah and Firmino. Now the subs, two goalkeepers on the bench, Kelleher and Jaros. Now I've got no card for Jaros, so apologies. Then I'm going to go with Jordan Henderson. Who have we got after that? Minamino, okay, there's Taki. Then we've got Jota, sound, we've got a little bit of him. Then we've got Shaqiri and Origi we've already got on the board, that's great. Bit of Reece Williams, Kane, we don't have one for, and yeah, Nico Williams. So no Naby Keita, no Joel Matip, who was obviously an injury concern anyway. No Kostas Tsimikas or Thiago, which we knew was going to be the same anyway. Interesting that Liverpool have only put 10 of their allotted 12 substitutes on the bench. I think is an interesting little talking point. But the side really is where it's at, isn't it? I mean, it's probably the strongest back five that we can put out, with obviously no Matip involved. So the question marks are going to be, how are Gomez and Fabinho going to play together? Will Gomez indeed start on that left-hand side like he did when he came on for Virgil van Dijk at the weekend in the derby? I'd guess so. We know Adrian's going to have to play in place of Alisson, so that wasn't a big surprise. I like this midfield three. Now, I'd guess that it would be Wijnaldum as a defensive midfielder. It could just as easily be Milner, or 4-2-3-1, baby. Maybe a little bit more like of an offset midfield three, like that. A bit of a Wijnaldum, Milner and Kurt Jones, and then the front three is going to be the front three, isn't it? So it's an exciting side, really, because Kurt Jones is in the middle of the park and because we've got the front three players. What do you reckon of it, Paul?
Sorry, I'm just watching more of the highlights back from Real Madrid. The Real Madrid game was just excellent. Yes, it's an interesting team. I think the midfield, it will probably raise a few eyebrows. For those of you watching at home, let us know live in the comments what you think about it. Ross was good enough to put a tweet out with it to get some early reactions to it. Hello, I'm awesome. Says, pretty sure what I thought we'll see. Well, I thought we'll see Curtis Jones to score a cracker, methinks sound. I mean, if you've predicted that team, then you're an absolute genius. Travis Paul says Shaqiri masterclass coming up, and Magnificent Mane saying, I don't get Klopp sometimes. Why drop VVD?
Shaqiri masterclass.
Yeah,
he's on the bench. We should be happy.
It's a good start. It's a very good start for Shaqiri to see him on the substitutes bench. Yeah, Paul Moran here saying not sure about that midfield. Gavin O'Loughlin saying, does Bobby need a rest? Piyush saying, yeah, man, thought Thiago was playing today. I mean, that it's interesting. You rightly say that. You meant that you can name 12 subs. We haven't. We've named 10. The Naby thing's interesting because by all accounts he was in training, and it's mad that he's not even included on the bench. It doesn't bode particularly well unless there's just the thought of, I don't know, in normal circumstances, if we had 7 subs and he wasn't among them, I'd be like, fine, we're just making sure that he's fit and available for the weekend. But
no, there's something gone on there. Yeah. There's something gone on there. So I don't know. Obviously, I saw him in the training video. Was that yesterday morning before the start 11? Now, we didn't see Kostas Tsimikas or anything like that, but we did see Naby Keita in that video. So it is a little bit of a surprise to me that we've not seen Naby Keita today. I'm surprised he's gone as strong with the front three as he has done, to be honest. I know that Mo Salah, I was looking into the minutes that they've played, and he was the only player of all Liverpool players who played in the 600 minutes this season so far. Now, obviously, he had that little bit extra break because he didn't have the international football that some of the others had. Yeah. So that probably put him about balance, but maybe the with all due respect, maybe the idea is that the rest comes against Midtjylland for some of these players, because you've got Ajax, you've got Sheffield United the weekend, and what will be perceived as an easier tie, although I think they're quite a physical side that could sort of get at us. Maybe that's the game where there's a little bit of rest and rotation, a little bit more, should I say.
It's interesting because you look at what we've got on the bench and midfield options. Well, I mean, technically it's Shaqiri, because we saw Shaqiri play against Lincoln in there, and we got mentioned that in a comment, like, you didn't talk about Shaqiri's in midfield. It's barely worth discussing Shaqiri. And someone saying, look, don't give him stick. I was saying to you, I don't know when we'll ever see Shaqiri start a game of football for us anytime soon. It's probably Midtjylland. But in terms of midfield,
might start a game before Shaqiri.
But in terms of the midfield is what it's what's left. If Naby can't play, and we know Thiago was injured, and I know Henderson on the bench, but they're obviously trying to make sure that they're easing him back into things.
You can't take any risks with Jordan Henderson right now, can you? Because Fabinho's going to be playing deeper probably. For how long, we don't know, but it would be stupid to risk Jordan Henderson in this type of a situation. I think if Thiago's fit and everything else, and Keita's fit, then maybe you could have a little bit more of a roll of the dice with Jordan, but as it stands, you probably can't. Although, this is the thing, Paul. I mean, we had a big conversation about Kurt Jones prior to the season, and you were saying, like, first few games you expect to see a start. I was very much the opposite of that. He's getting a start in the first Champions League game of the season. That's fucking brilliant for him. Yeah. And I don't think it... Yeah, of course, the defensive injuries and the midfield injuries play a part in that, but shouldn't really matter. The fact is, he's trusted in an away game against a huge side in Ajax, and I just wonder whether this is the door being opened ajar for him, and now it's time for him to smash that door down and make sure that you can't ignore him anymore.
He's part of the first team squad, isn't he? And he's in rotation, and it's daft because we look at like Divock is on the bench, Shaqiri's on the bench, but they weren't at the weekend.
Yeah.
And Curtis Jones, I think Curtis Jones is, I mean, it's hard to put them in a pecking order per se when they're playing in different positions, but I think Curtis is more trusted to fit in with what Liverpool do at the moment than some of the other lads there. We found out about the Naby Keita stuff, and just go over to Twitter. David Lynch,
the real David Lynch this time.
David Lynch says Keita left out of the travelling party as a precaution, I'm told, in reply to our good friend Rob Gutman's tweet of Keita injured ? So yeah, that is a real shame. And there's no, but it boils down to it. They're not going to take risks, because we were trying to say what's the priority of Ajax and Sheffield United at the minute, and we've come up with the answer that we thought we were going to get. It's going to be a slightly rotated team, probably for both games. You're not going to see, but then that will of course depend on the fitness of Thiago Alcantara, of course. But right now, yeah, you need Naby Keita. It would be stupid to push him through for any limited reason. I hope there's no problem with him. No.
Listen, we've got a bit of a problem, and I don't know whether it's a long-term problem or whatever, but with the likes of Joe Matip, with the likes of Shaqiri, with the likes of Naby Keita, they just don't seem to ever be fit and available for us, do they? And it's so frustrating, because they're all good players. Like, people in the comments there saying don't take the mick out of Shaqiri. We think he's a good footballer. We really do. Mm-hmm. We're annoyed that he's never available. It's to the point where he's a bit of a joke to us, because we've got him, but we're never allowed to use him. And Naby Keita's a little bit like that. He had a good run after restart, didn't he? Where he sort of played out the end of the season, and that was probably one of the biggest run of games that he's had. And my word, what a run of games, because we weren't playing particularly well. But I would say for that end of the season, post-restart, he was our best player. Yeah. And I miss him, because he just gives us something a little bit different. Now, thankfully, Thiago Alcantara's come in, and we're all a little bit excited about it. But he's actually only replacing what Keita was doing in the side towards the end of the season anyway at the moment. I want to see both of them in there. I want to see a midfield with Thiago and Keita in there.
When you want to get to a style of play that you can just maintain without but change personnel. And that's what Jota's there for. Jota's there to simulate what Mane's able to do, to something like Minamino's there to simulate what Firmino does. And similarly, I think, Thiago's effectively upgrade on Wijnaldum and Keita, but Keita was meant to take us on a level. You can see that what Keita's meant to be. He's meant to carry the ball. He's meant to be a slightly more dynamic player in midfield. He's meant to be the guy who picks the lock, gets up and supports the attack, etc., etc. And he hasn't kind of been. That's why we've gone out and bought the best in the world at that job. But you're right. You know, you want a situation here where Kate is playing Wednesday and Thiago's playing Saturday, and vice versa. At the moment, we might face it where we've gone with another week of football without either of them. But we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get there, I guess. I think it's really the thing that tells you how much Klopp wants to get 3 points on the board here is the front three. They might well just start against Sheffield United, but you would bank on maybe one change for the weekend if given all three of them have started here. That tells me that, you know, we've gone with what we could do in the midfield. We've made the defence work because Joel Matip's obviously not with us. And then they've gone, right, well, whether he wanted to or not, maybe this was enforced, but right now we've put our strongest, we put the best front three out. Yeah. And that speaks volumes to how seriously we're taking this
Absolutely,
game.
And we should be, shouldn't we? It's the Champions League, for goodness sakes. And it's against the big sides. And someone made the point the other day, I think it might have been Ross in the build-up show, maybe it was you actually, about, you know, if you can get 3 points in this game, it does ease the pressure on the other away games, doesn't it, slightly? Yeah. So that's clearly what Klopp's going for. You know, while the squad's a little bit fresher, you know, earlier on in the season, roll the dice, play those front three players, hope you get a result and hopefully ease your passage to the Champions League knockout stages because of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? You hope to win all three of your home games, and if you pick up another win, 12 points is going to see you through more often than not in the group. A few people asking about the Keita stuff, saying, in fact, Don One Marcus in the comments here saying, isn't Keita due to his COVID risk as opposed to injury? You would say he's been in training, so
I wonder whether it's about whether he can. He's allowed to leave and stuff like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe. Who knows? But actually, to be fair, if it said as a precaution, that's what Dave Lynch just said, right? Then that's not to do with a COVID risk, is it? That's a precaution for something. Or maybe it is a precaution for...
it's code, isn't it? We're like, it was too early for him. Was the code before the last game when really we all knew, even though it hadn't been officially announced, it was too early for him.
There's a few people in the comments, Paul, just asking for the team. So I don't know whether, Si, you could just put the starting 11 board on again so we can go through the team for anyone who's turned up a little bit late for us. So as you can see there, we've got Adrian, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho, Gomez, Robertson with Wijnaldum, Milner, Jones, Salah, Mane and Firmino. And we've put 10 players on the bench. You can only count 8 because we don't have the backup goalkeeper and we don't have Kane either. Was it Jura, the backup goalkeeper?
Jaros.
What?
Jaros.
Okay, if you say so.
Yeah, brilliant. Just out of it, just for the sake of completeness, the Ajax starting 11, which I've got up here, Onana, Schürrle, Davy Klaassen, David Neres, Gravenberch, never heard of him, Dusan Tadic, Mazraoui, Daley Blind, Kudus, Martinez and Tagliafico. Oh, I'm having that. That's the Ajax starting 11. That is the Liverpool starting 11. Keep your thoughts on that coming in, of course. We are going to be back 15 minutes before the game kicks off. So what, about 45 minutes-ish from now all the way through, doing a live fan zone commentary and watch along for the game. I'm really looking forward to that, where you get to pick some Liverpool songs with a little sing about, have a laugh, just take the piss, and hopefully watch Liverpool bag 3 points in the Champions League this season. We hope to see you there, of course. And yes, please, Si. We will we'll be with you very, very shortly. Stay tuned on the channel, and we'll be back. Oh, by the way, Shakhtar are beating Real 3-0. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Red Men TV. We are here. We are live. It is the fan zone watch-along commentary. And Naby Keita's come out top. He's going to strike it!
That is the starting 11 I think that we all wanted to see tonight, isn't it?
Something that the cup on should know.
He's let him go!
Passes wise, it's 139 to Chelsea, 129 to Liverpool, so it's not actually, we are creeping back into it.
GS Robinius, he said your commentary is way better than 5 Live. Thank you so much. And it is Liverpool are Premier League champions for 2019-20. Come on! Bring it on! Bring it home! Liverpool are the champions! Liverpool are your Premier League champions!